So I'm extremely excited today for today's brand new Always Moving podcast episode. We have Tyler here. He is a yoga strength coach. I would say it's too simple of a word for what he does, but just to get things started off, I'm excited that he's here. We're going to learn a lot about his journey, his challenges, his mindset, and how he's running a successful yoga and strength studio and helping out a lot of people, not only just in the community but online as well. So Tyler, thank you for your time.
For sure. Really good to be here.
Now, before we get started, I have a quick question for you. How often do you say the words, "I don't have time"? That is one of the biggest reasons why our goals are not achieved yet. It is so common that we don't realize that it's actually an excuse. The real reason why you say "I don't have time" is because you don't actually know where your free time is at. Don't worry, I'm here to help. I got you. Click the link below and you'll be able to set up a call with me and I can show you how easy it is to find your free time. Let go of feeling anxious with your time and start becoming a more productive person. Now, let's get started with that interview.
I love the podcast vibe, and it's dope that you're starting that type of work and putting that type of energy in the world. So it's very exciting to be here, and I feel like we have similar minds and we look at the world in a similar way. So I think it'll be a good conversation.
Yeah, definitely. First, how I always like to start off is asking, what are your intentions behind today's podcast?
It's fun. It's a good question. You mentioned that when we were setting up, and I had no intention, which was interesting. And it's good because I should have an intention. I really just, you asked me and I was like, of course. Like, I've done my own podcast a few times. I've been on other podcasts as well. So like I just said, I love the vibe, and this is what I do for a living, is talk and share ideas, and that's what I'm passionate about. So the intention was, that's what I love to do. So I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely personally know you, and I've seen your work, I experienced your work, I've been challenged by your work, so I know that you have value to provide. Not only is I know the conversation going to be good, but I know that you're going to give a lot of good energy and value to the people. So
appreciate that.
Just to kind of elaborate more about you, as the audience may not know, what is something that you've accomplished that you're proud of, something that like kind of represents you?
Pride is an interesting perspective. It's an interesting emotion. And I grew up where I didn't really let myself feel that very much. So it's a good question, but I've been in a phase of my life where I've been learning more about love and more about gratitude, and pride comes with that. So it's been interesting for me to embrace in that and take a step back and to look at everything that's happened in my life, because each day, each year, your perspective on time changes and time moves quicker the older you get. And it's really nice to realize, like, oh my gosh, like this stuff's happening. Like we always, as kids in high school, it's always like, oh, this is going to happen. Like I kind of want to do that. I don't really know. But now it's like, I know what I want to do and it's happening, and it's going to go quick. So it's nice to look back, and what I am proud of is everything I've ever done. Like, that's how I feel at this point. I've been working on excitement for just everything I'm doing. And if something doesn't excite me or it's hard to get excited, then that's something that I need to reflect on, and possibly change. So I've been embracing in that and taking a step back and looking at everything I used to want to accomplish and how it is accomplished and being accomplished, and because I still have goals and there's always something more to do. So I'm proud of the mindset I've built, and being able to embrace in that and use that to help my businesses flourish. But like you said, as to give a background more on what that stuff is specifically, is I own what now has turned into a yoga studio where I also do personal training one-on-ones, and just started my very first workshop as well, which, like I said, that's like my biggest passion is, it is teaching and providing yoga, but a yoga studio, especially in America, they only work on 1/8 of yoga, which is the asana, which is the stretching, which is the working out, which is the posture work and the alignment and the physical body stuff. But yoga is much, much, much more than just that. So the seminars help me, the workshops help me to share and teach and also learn, like you said, from teaching, and help people in the other avenues, just of ways of living life, ways of looking at life, ways of reacting and responding
The bigger
to
picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything. So
yeah, let's go.
so it's super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And to kind of like just get a bigger perspective with this is you use the words reflect, you use the word pride, you use the words like looking at yourself from like an outside lens. That to me sounds like you've done some personal development.
100%.
What are some of those things that you've accomplished, whether it's like reading books or hiring mentors or going to seminars or your own experiences? Tell us about that.
My journey of personal development, first I want to say I believe everyone has this journey. Everyone's walking up a mountain in life, and how you make your way to the top of that mountain is totally up to you, but it's important to understand that you are walking up a mountain, and you need to embrace in that journey to a higher purpose, higher being, to reach your heart's purpose, to reach God, to reach more sense of fulfillment and love, like whatever word you want to use to label all that. So I believe everyone has their darknesses as well. And growing up, I used to love to, when I was in this phase of overcoming these things, we used to call them our demons. And we used to do this in a fun way when we were on a long run, and you would have that voice of doubt in your head, but you keep pushing through and you finish what you said you were going to do, and you have that discipline. So, but then there's the real demons, the ones that you don't talk to people about, the ones that you go through in your head. And so personal development is all about mental health, really. And I've seeked that journey in this lifetime because I needed it. Everyone has their own traumas. And what I believe about trauma and bad times is that whether yours is harder or worse in a terms of in the eye of society, you're still feeling your trauma to the same degree in your physical body as you are to someone else who could have, quote unquote, went through something worse. So everyone holds that energy and tension in their body, and I just learned how to, I needed to seek it out subconsciously. I created this life around self-development because I just felt drawn to it subconsciously.
So you would say your own just kind of like a conscious interrupt kind of just hit you and like made you realize like, man, I have potential. There's more for me, and I need to work on this bad stuff so that the good stuff can happen. Is that something similar?
Yeah, for sure. I believe firmly that in order to succeed or help anyone else, you need to have a foundation of that help for yourself. Before you could ever love someone, you have to love yourself. Life is this mirror. And we all on this journey of trying to better ourselves, whether we want to admit it or not. Like, what else is there to do? And this is something I learned recently, and to connect to this higher vibration of self and being, which attracts everything you've ever wanted, by the way. Like, a higher form of energy brings you everything more to a higher degree. And there's two ways to do that. And one is connection through yourself. And the other one is connection through the earth. And at the end of the day, those are the same things. We're the same energies. The same patterns of life happen to both of us, the ups and downs, right? You can't have one without the other. And that's just where I'm at, is like the deep core of learning about our life in this existence, in this reality.
Yeah.
And learning how to use that to always be excited, so that way
Yeah.
I can hold space and help other people find that too.
Yeah, excellent. And from that experience, would you say that's where your business kind of came out of, or was your business something kind of random, or would you say that like this is a passion project for you?
Yeah, going back to how you said it was like a conscious interrupt, which is an interesting phrase. I believe many people out there are living as a young boy, young girl, and they just have this constant feeling of like you're meant for something, and you're meant for something, but whatever you're doing isn't it. Like you've been forced to do school and go through this, and those are all great things, but you reach an age where you can choose, and you need to use what you've been given and the support you've had and the environment you grew up in to make your decision in the best direction possible for your well-being. And so I believe people feel called for something and they don't know really how to listen to that voice, or they're surrounded in an environment that isn't great for that calling.
Mm-hmm.
So, it takes a lot of this self-development, this self-work, this reflection and sitting back and being still. What it takes is stillness, because especially where we live, and probably most people that are going to listen to this grew up in a hustle culture and constant need for more things, more status, more
Fast-paced.
money, more material, this
Absolutely.
narrow vision of life, where the reality is you can step back from that and embrace in what this actually is, which is life, which is also love, which is also God, which is also just pure energy of breath, feeling things. Like we exist to feel. Like we don't exist to, we do exist to grow, but we don't exist to simply achieve more things constantly. As an evolution, it's ups and downs. Society takes good turns and bad turns, and this is a cycle. This is our life patterns, and this happens quickly in our own lives, but also on a grand scale of human evolution and Earth evolving from dinosaurs to whatever. And this is just this cycle, and we need to embrace our era and where we are in that. And it's all about awareness.
Yeah, well, the beautiful part is your excitement is what's leading towards you seeing your bigger potential and how you want to share that bigger potential. And you are sharing it, from my understanding, through your fitness, but also through your energy, your light, your videos, and yoga. And that is what like kind of started this like entrepreneurial journey for you. Would you say that's what it is? Or
So it's important to know, like, the excitement, the passion, the heart's calling, it all changes. And that's why sometimes your heart isn't rational, right? It doesn't use language, it uses a feeling. So to listen to that feeling at a young age, you need to, maybe it's just sports. Maybe it's a sport you really like, right? You need to devote time to that and energy to that and work on that. And it'll lead you somewhere else. And then it'll lead you somewhere else. And it'll lead you, you just have to go and do the things you really excite you. But that doesn't mean everything's easy, because the challenges are what make us better and what make us grow and all that stuff. So embracing in excitement around things that you enjoy the challenge of. Like I said, sport is a great example at a young age. And for me, I decided it was a sport, and I love lacrosse, and I was like, I don't know what else I want to do with what I know, and I just want to try to play this sport and be really good at it. And that's all that's what led me. And it, because I knew it was a challenge. It was hard for me. It was physically exhausting, and that made me better mentally. I had behavioral issues as a kid growing up through school, and once I started playing sports and really putting time into that and tiring my body out, like my mind cleared and I was able to focus in class better and all this stuff. So that's why I intuitively was like, I'm just going to do a sport and focus on that because that helps me. You know, for me, that was like me listening to myself.
That's yielding the best results for you at the moment.
Right. And then that's what led me to, you know, getting more into lifting weights. And I was a cross country runner and I didn't really like that. I just did it because my friends did it. And then, but that background was one of the biggest challenges I've gone through at a young age, is pushing myself through something I didn't really like. That was also really painful, like running 6 miles as fast as you can daily, like hard, you know?
Yeah.
Very painful.
Yeah.
Very like pressurizing for me as a kid. And so anyway, I went from that to wanting to lift more and get stronger. Like I just did what I was intuitively passionate about, and that ended up being health and nutrition. And then it went from that to bodybuilding and lifting heavy weights and getting stronger. And then it went to wanting to learn about my own body and doing body weight and finding yoga, really.
Wow.
And then I believe in blending it all in terms of physical health, right? You should combine strength training with stretching, and that is the key to longevity and living happy and staying sharp. So, and living pain-free. So that's why this is what I do now, is both. I'm very heavily into the yoga in terms of philosophy and ways of life, but the asana also very into it because I love it. But it's like to use that and then to blend that with my background of being strong physically. And like learning how to use your own body's strength, not necessarily bodybuilding or powerlifting or using steroids or anything like that anymore. Although I still do, and to be clear, I still do those types of workouts and those types of lifts. It's just to balance that with yoga and stretching and body weight work is very important. Breath work, mindful work, all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as you said, to wrap up that question, is like, just all these things developed and this excitement changed, and now it's finally found an actual path where I can actually say, oh yeah, that's what I do. You know?
Wow. To think this all started from lacrosse, and you were excited about lacrosse, and then you got into cross country, and that wasn't exciting, but you still did it because it was challenged. And overall, it don't seem like you turned down challenges very easily as well. So that was a part of a growth, you know, regardless of the timing or the enjoyment of it. And then that led to bodybuilding, and then that led to then the calisthenics, and then the yoga. That's amazing. It's kind of similar to me, where when I was younger in my teens, I was on 3 soccer teams, a basketball team, and a swim team. And I personally thought that I was doing all this because I was good at sports. Well, subconsciously, it was actually helping my discipline muscle. I was
body like that.
Oh my gosh, man. My routine, I created a system without knowing I had a system. You know, and then like once I got into personal development, which for me was reading books, the reading books, and then with the discipline, it just
good combo.
gelled. Yeah.
See, that's the thing, is taking two things, like I use yoga and weightlifting, for example, and blending them to achieve the pinnacle of purpose in terms of longevity. And you're saying this discipline with these habits, and they blend well together. Sports and reading, and they blend well together. And they just help grow you as a person.
Yeah. And speaking about how intuitive your mind is and everything, and now we're here at the start of your business. How did you come up with the name? Like, how did that just like come about? Was it like influence from somebody? Did you see it somewhere else and thought like, hey, I can take that and make it better? Talk to us about that.
It's a really, really good question. I've never been asked in this setting. So, you know, just to wrap up too, like this changing of passions and following heart, I decided to go from a school that I just went to play lacrosse. And I transferred because I was like, I'm not going to play lacrosse forever. It's not sports anymore. It's nutrition. It's food. It's how to eat. It's how to live. So I went to a different school to study nutrition because that's where they offered it. And then after a year of that, I was also in limbo, like school wasn't for me. It wasn't it. So that's how I became, and that's how I dropped out and I started working 3 jobs. And I was like, I like to work, I like to work, and I like health. So I was like, what could I do? Personal trainer. Boom. Let me do that.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, so now I'm doing that. Working construction, working in a physical therapy office, because it was like the environment was what I wanted to learn, and how to assist people and of all ages and all different surgeries and anything. So then I was personal training, doing all this stuff at the same time, and I was like, clearly I need to do my own thing and run my own business. Like, it was just a clear, I started to learn more about entrepreneurial work, which, school doesn't teach that stuff to you, which is, again, I was in an environment, I was in schooling, and I was taught by people that you need to go to college and you need to get a good job and that has benefits. And, that path just wasn't for me, and that works for a lot of people, and that's great. So it gets come down time to me to open some doors, and I'm like, just letting life do that for me, really. But when it came time to choose a name, as you asked, I just knew I wanted to be different, and I didn't want it to be about personal training. I wanted it to be about all this stuff I'm talking about, and I didn't even know all this stuff then. So I just knew there was something more. So I picked the name New Generation Wellness, which stands for a new way of looking at things, the next step for people. Or what the brand really stands for is embracing change and embracing personal authenticity. And the name has actually changed to Nova Wellness. It's just shorter, more catchy. My last name is Bella Nova, and my Instagram name was always Nova Lifts when I was doing all the weightlifting and stuff, which has now changed to Nova Wellness because that's more what it's about, right? So I combined like the Instagram name with the New Generation Wellness name, and the company name is now Nova Wellness. And then the yoga studio I opened, the door is called Nova Yoga. So, and it flows well together.
Yeah,
it works well together. And
definitely.
I have a DBA, which is do business as, so legally the name is two separate companies, but it's under one LLC, which is nice. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy,
Yeah. It represents you.
Yeah. The name really came because I was picking a logo, which was the bird, which is a phoenix, which represents rebirth, new beginnings. A phoenix rises from the ashes, and it's like everything just blended well together. My nickname growing up was Bird my whole life.
Let's go.
And it's like it just worked. So the phoenix with my last name Nova, and it just the whole concept worked.
Yeah.
I was just looking for a logo one day. That's what led to it.
Yeah. See, I knew this was intuitive, man. You put everything together, from like school to what you're passionate about to what you're giving out as well, the energy. That's awesome. And now let me ask you, because it sounds like this has been a growing theme since high school to now. A lot of, things in the middle. There's had to been like a seed of persistence within you to keep going. Would you say that was self-taught? Would you say that was, a mentor, family? Where would you say that your seed of persistence came from? That was a good breath.
Yeah. Seed of persistence?
Seed of persistence.
Is that seed or seat?
Seed. SEED.
Okay, so I like this question a lot. How to overcome doubt. Just maybe 3 days ago, maybe 4 days ago, I was like heavily doubting everything.
Really?
Yeah, just super, this is a part of life. And having the awareness that that's okay to feel those ways is great, because I believe I'm on an exponential curve. And you're right, you're asking about the beginning of that, how to overcome that doubt throughout that period of time if you're on that type of journey, which I believe everyone is or is in some way. So I was just doubting myself super hard, and now I overcome it by having the awareness that it's okay. You got to understand that doubt's just a part of life. And I guess before I realized, and the bigger things you do, the harder things you do, like trying to run your own business, it starts off with no reward. It's all investment. And that's why this line is just fucking flat as shit. And then one day after potential years you could skyrocket.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, to have the awareness that doubt is super part of the equation, like, that's cool. That means you're on the right path. If you're doubting yourself a little bit, then you're on the right path. Because that's what it is. Like, I don't, but it's hard, you know, and it doesn't feel good. I doubt myself every time I don't have, like, many people sign up for a class.
Ooh.
And it's like, like, I don't know, maybe it's time of year. And it's like I put my focus on this one little day, this one class, when I'm not really looking at the big picture, you know. And this is a long game, so it's totally cool if people are chilling one day doing something else.
Absolutely.
And I got to just keep my perspective not on this, like, need this. Like, I need... And again, I only stress in that aspect because I want to keep the doors open.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me making more money because all that money goes right back into it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to fail in terms of, like, I can't afford to keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. It's just those doubts come. They're
happen.
always there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a risk. The whole thing was a risk in general. I was like, okay, do I want to just take all my money and put it right there and have no, safety net? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why you got to pick something that works for you, that you're cool having doubt with and feeling uncomfortable with and having those challenges. So
yeah. And I'm super excited and happy that you used the word awareness. That's actually one of my favorite words. I feel like that's something that we should all learn in any aspect of our life. The thing that really caught my attention was you're aware of self-doubt. So that is your kind of like your seed of persistence, that self-doubt is going to happen. And as long as I can overcome that, then the persistence keeps on going and it's going to a better trajectory. Now, the challenges you were talking about, big or small, what is something that you were just like baffled about, that you can't believe that you had to overcome that challenge to get to where you're at? Is it like, something was stopping your business, or was it like friends and family that are like putting that negative talk in you? Was it something unforeseen, like health or something like that? What are some of the challenges that you had to overcome to get you to where you are right now?
Well, if I really think about this, and I kind of touched on it, I think the biggest challenge was learning how to listen to your heart. Is to learn that. And again, I felt from a very young age a calling to learn that. Like, that's all I was called to do, is learn how to listen to who I am and then to go in that direction. And again, I'm fortunate to not have been given really like challenges through society or government, or live in a place where I need to worry about, survival, for example.
Yeah.
I've had challenges with the business, but again, I use my karma, which is the proof that you are who you say you are. And I believe in working hard in the direction of your heart. And if you do that and you balance that with enjoying life, then those types of things that might be like things that might come up that might hold you back a great amount, don't really, there's already something there to help you if that happens, type of thing. And again, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I was running my studio through a personal training studio. It was not a yoga studio. And I did that for 2 years. And it was in this basement I was renting out. And then the yoga studio happened. And I actually was doing both for about 2, maybe 3 months. I was letting the yoga classes run, and I was training people still at the other place. And they were like 5 minutes away from each other. Gift from God, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, this is super cool. And I also live very, very close. So it was very nice for me to not have to commute a 15-minute drive from my parents' house anymore and have these 2 locations and 2 different businesses, and I was like, wow, this is crazy, you
Yeah.
know? And then the township came and told me I was, after 2 years, they came and told me I was in a violation of fire code, and basically you're not allowed down here with more than, one person. You can't like do sessions down here anymore. Like, I'm not allowed to operate there anymore, but they gave me like, I think 4 months to get my equipment out of there. And I was like, this is crazy. And I was like, but I never once was like super upset. I was like, oh my gosh, well, this must be the next step. I literally 2 months ago signed a lease for a yoga studio. I had a place to go.
Yeah.
So like that could have been a really big struggle. But again, through this karma, following my heart and taking risks, I had a place that I could go to at least. It wasn't as good. And it affected classes because I couldn't do both at the same time. But I at least had something. And it was the next step. It was the next thing to move me to something bigger. Maybe I shouldn't be training people as much anymore. Maybe I need to focus on bigger things.
Yeah.
Use my time in different ways. And that way, to be clear, bigger things other than helping one person achieve their goals would be to help 100 people achieve their goals within that hour as well.
Yeah.
So, that goes to that quote. The more people you serve, the more successful you'll be. Like, that's where my head's at. The more you can embrace in this direction of your heart, which is the direction of love, which is the direction of the universe plan and God, then the more good comes to everyone around you.
Absolutely. Good.
So,
and
I don't know.
Man, I can definitely tell your excitement, your passion, your energy, and I can see that it's doing good not only for you but for others as well. For the people that are new to you, what are some of the things that you teach or you serve or deliver with your business, and where is it going next?
Yeah, I mean, so right now, like I said, I created a brand that could go any direction in terms of health, well-being, and it used to be just personal training. And now it's evolved to yoga classes, group classes, also still one-on-one training. I like to do one-on-ones because it really helps focus on individualize it for the person, because everyone's bodies and everyone's mind is totally different. So I like to help people learn how to intuitively work out themselves. And that's my main focus, is that functional training, learning how to listen to yourself, learning when to slow down, when to push hard, learning how to align yourself with earth and embrace higher self, and how to, because it's just about how to find it so that you can live through it. And it's not something you need to do to achieve. So learning how to find that, and learning intuition and how to find your values and how to build on them. And I do it through any way I need to help the person.
Yeah.
So
I feel it, yeah.
A lot of times that's through yoga, physically, asana, and a lot of times that's through sitting and having a conversation, and other times it's through giving them a hard workout and talking and vibing and teaching all of the things. And where is it going next? I just did a retreat to Peru. It was my second retreat where I learned a lot, and I met a lot of cool people who have this amazing organization, this specific one I believe I'm going to begin working with soon, and hosting my own retreats around the world. So
let's go.
First stop's going to be, the first 2 stops, not sure the order, is going to be India and Mexico. And these will be planned within the next year or 2 years, within that time frame. So I'm super excited to, start doing something bigger, like literally huge, global. Just seeing where the business goes. I'm going to let the flow take me.
Yeah.
I don't have any specific plans other than the time of the lease is to build the yoga to flourish, and hopefully help people. So just to do bigger things and use that studio, right? It's a studio, but I need to do things that build that community, build that brand to where we can do things anywhere. You don't need a physical spot. although that'll still be a thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
It definitely feels like it flows. Like I personally been to your studio, and I definitely recommend you go to his studio. But as soon as you walk in, it definitely feels like it flows. And I like how you said that you're gonna continue to let it flow, because I think about it like this, like flowing and water. If it flows, it goes somewhere positive because it's always moving, right? But if you put, like, let's say like a log or a rock or something, and it stops the flows, it now becomes a dam. And then dam is a negative word, and dam just rotates in the same place, and it eventually gets dirty and it doesn't flow as much. So I like how you have that openness and that intuitiveness and the belief in yourself and your potential, in the potential of your clients, to let it take you to the next place, which you want to impact, not just for that moment, but for the whole lifestyle. So that's awesome. Just to wrap things up, you gave a lot of value today. I mean, like, man, my mind is blown.
appreciate you.
But what is like one piece of advice, one tip that you would give to somebody looking to get in tune with their self?
Yeah, it comes down to two things. Again, a balance of two factors of being, and one comes down to moving your body for sure. Challenge yourself. Do it in ways you enjoy, whether you like to run, lift weights, do push-ups, endure nature, right? Like, move your body, connect to the earth, go outside, breathe a lot. Got to do that stuff. 100%. Just do it intuitively. Do it when you don't want to. Do it when you want to, all of it. So
Yeah.
balancing that with being still, resting, nourishing. And when I say being still, if you really want to practice that, and really the real key, if you're doing all that stuff to actually connect, is to literally be still, in terms of sit there and breathe and think about yourself. Consciously think with no stimulation happening. No music, no TV, no
Cell phone.
cell phone for sure.
Yeah.
Even like going for a walk and just listening to birds, that's great too. But also doing this just in a comfortable seat. I'm talking just a few minutes. Even if you just want to do it, I don't even know. Just do it sometimes. Like, just do it sometimes. Sit there and breathe and think about yourself. Some people call it meditation.
Yeah.
Okay? But again, a lot of people are intimidated by that word.
That's true. Yes.
And it doesn't mean blocking out and thinking of nothing. It means thinking of everything, thinking of all of the things. The outcome of thinking of all the things one day could be that you have nothing left to think about, which would be releasing your thoughts, which would be achieving what people think meditation is. And that could happen one day.
Yeah.
It could take, some people could tap into that sooner. Some people, it could take years. And other people, it could take lifetimes.
Yeah.
So it's like, point is, doing it anyway, whether it's hard or not, it becomes easier with practice. And I'm not saying do this for a while. I'm just saying take time to be still and breathe.
Slow down.
And soak it in.
Yeah.
Like,
be present.
That's what you need to balance everything. And that's what I literally feel like I just learned how to do that personally.
Yeah.
And it took a long time. I did it for a long time when I felt called to, which was weekly, not daily, but it was definitely weekly. And I just figured out how to what it really means and why it really helps. And that's why I'm still talking about it.
Let's go.
That's the key.
Yeah.
But don't forget to move too. That's all.
Excellent. Well, Tyler, man, let me express, this was a joyful interview.
For sure.
Definitely. What is where's the best place people can reach out to you and follow your journey or attempt one of your classes or anything of your energy? Like, how can they, easiest way to reach you?
For sure. The yoga studio, which I just want to mention, is in Columbus, New Jersey, Central Jersey. Always on Instagram, Always, that's probably where I'm updating the most. I have 2 accounts, but Nova Wellness is the one, Nova_wellness. And then my personal, where I also post a lot of information, more so philosophy and stuff like that, is Ty Bellanova. Ty Bellanova. Yeah, you can also go on nova-wellness.com, and that's where a lot of my information is, as well as the yoga schedule and my number if you want to reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Also, thank you for your time, energy, and for your excitement to learn. Please make sure to comment down below any questions for Tyler. Also, all his information will be in the description below. And till next time, like his advice, like my mindset, always be moving. Have a great day.
Peace.